And I remember Mzee Moi asking, mahali hawa maharamia wanatoka kuna machief ama hakuna? Na nikisikia tena hawa machief watapoteza kazi. He went on to establish GSU camp in Usweni, and even recently there was an attempt, I think, in Mandungoi, in Ngomeni area, to do something. I think when Ambassador the security advisor, when Monica Juma was in charge of that docket, she tried to do something, establish some guideline of security arrangement. And I know that Governor Malombe has put in place some 6 police stations. All that needs to happen is to populate those police stations, because Governor Malombe does not control the police force. So Inspector Inspector General should help Governor Malombe populate immediately those 6 police stations put up by the county government of Kitui. But the killing of the young man in Ukasi is what seems to have brought a lot of fury, because a young man, 14-year-old, was that slashed to death, and this then raised the level of anger in Guni, in Ukasi, in Mwingi. For as long as I can remember, Mwingi town has never witnessed the kind of anger and fury that was evident yesterday. And we can understand all of this. But against all that background was, and I want somebody to give me that phone again, my phone, because CS Duale, in the presence of his boss in Mandera, issued a clear fiat. He said, us in opposition should never be allowed to cross the River Tana into Garissa. And if that happens, we should be assaulted. He says this in Kisomali, we got all the interpretation. We should be assaulted. We should never be allowed to go into northern Kenya, as if that territory belongs to Duale. We must remind him that Wajir, Garissa, Mandera are part and parcel of the Kenyan territory. Mwingi is part of the Kenyan territory. And no amount of tribal talk will now divide these 2 communities. What we are dealing with is an issue of criminals, and by now the police should have apprehended them. The ones who killed the 8 in Kwakamari, and the ones who slashed to death this young man, should have quickly been apprehended. Now I must tell C.S. Duale, even as he says we should not cross over, there are so many. Garissa itself is a cosmopolitan town. There are so many Kambas who live in Garissa, work in Garissa, they are born in Garissa, that is their home. I know I've met Kambas in Elwak, in Mandera. They are artisans, they work. They work and they are very good, they are gifted artisans. There are many of them in Wajir. And I've received telephone calls from the community leaders in Wajir, fearing for their lives now because of what Duale said, that we should never be allowed to get into those parts of the country. And yet, there's no action taken by the statutory commission dealing with national cohesion and integration. A home minister in the presence of the president himself issuing a fiat. And that is why Mheshimiwa Gamia, who was with us, and my colleagues Rigathi Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, Wine Mwingi, and all these leaders, and I remember Mheshimiwa Siad saying we should actually move to Garissa. And indeed we are moving to Garissa as soon as it's practicable. But we must, before we do so, talk directly to the Kamba community and the Somali community. And even then talk also to our brothers and sisters in Meru County, Isiolo County, because these also are neglected. We were in Isiolo when we were in Meru with the Alternative Government Brigade, and we felt the pain of people in Mutuati who have since lost over 80 lives, and animals have been driven away. Deputy President himself is reputed to have gone there, and nothing whatsoever seems to have happened to ameliorate the situation, which is dire. So we are now dealing with a government which has completely failed to do the most basic thing, protection of lives of its citizens and property. The people who hired what is this thing? The Probox drove all the way, and they are known. Quick investigation will apprehend those culprits who drove that Probox into Kwamari and killed these people in cold blood. And those who slaughtered the young man, as I said. So, in Meru, in Isiolo, in Mwingi, in Garissa, in Wajir, in Mandera, I want to ask and speak directly to all the communities